Welcome to Sac Taff. It's been a few weeks since I've done a video. I've been a little bit extra busy, been doing a bit of overtime, and managed to get away. We went to Jersey, had a fantastic time, and now it's time to get back into routine. So I hope that you've been, should I say, enjoying the videos I've been doing. Considering the topics I'm talking about, I shouldn't really say enjoying, but I hope that you're listening and you're finding it interesting, because it's based on my book, Sacrifice of a Lifetime. And I think I'm nearly at the end of chapter 8. So I'm going to sort of read from where I think I sort of left off from, and continue to just get into conversation and talk about a little bit about the character and certain things that she's going through. And also to say that I've written the book, and I've said many times, but I'm going to have to, just keep on reflecting upon it, that it's a reflection on a character called Rebecca Barrican. She's the main character. And it's basically based on my life from birth up to my early 30s. So we've got through her childhood, and now we're at the teenage stage. And I reflected upon the fact that a lot of decisions Rebecca has made are not the decisions I would have made today. And majority of us would be honest enough to say that anyway. That majority of the decisions you made when you were younger, you would not have made those decisions now. And other people would be, no, I made the right decisions. I would not do that. No. But some of us did. Some of us did make those decisions, and were humble enough to look back and reflect and sort of say, that wasn't a good idea. And basically that's what I'm doing. I'm just sharing. It's called a sacrifice of a lifetime because there's a major decision Rebecca makes, and it has a huge effect on her life, and basically I chose to share because to me it was a sacrifice. I chose to share about it so other people would see, it from either another point of view, or just see how it could affect you if you chose to make that decision. And that's why it's called a sacrifice of a lifetime, because it's personal. And with me, especially then when I wrote the book, it's like, I'm not going to be talking about my business. You don't need to know, and I'll choose who I talk to. And I don't think I ever told anybody. I don't think I really told anybody, or if I did, it must have been like maybe one or two people. And if it was one particular person, it was to help them try and make the right decision, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so it's very sort of personal, and I still am, but I feel as though since writing this book, it feels as though I have a responsibility to share certain things that I do go through, that I've overcome, where I've seen it strengthen me, where I feel like I've developed more wisdom because of it. And I feel as though it's necessary to share when it's relevant in a positive way in order to help other people. I feel that response. Since I wrote the book, I didn't feel it was going to be, I thought I was just going to write the book and that's that. But not when I first started writing the first page of the book. That's when I realised I actually wanted to be an author and earn a decent living from it. I didn't realise I was going to feel like I have this responsibility to share about certain things that I go through, where a lot of people are going through certain issues and they will not say anything at all. They may even think that they're the only person going through it, or they're the only person feeling that way. So until someone shares and says, well, no, I actually went through it and this is how I felt and this is what I did and this is how I overcame it, and it's all positive, and you've got a positive way of thinking, you're not harbouring, any bitterness or negativity, and your mind is healed, I feel like if you can benefit other people, it's a good thing. So basically, yeah, so that's why it's called a sacrifice. It's not the sacrifice, it's a sacrifice of a lifetime, because it was a sacrifice for me to share. And then you do get people that will point the finger, like I've been sharing, and say, be self-righteous, and say, no, I wouldn't do that. No wonder this is happening to you, or something like that. I've had that before. Yeah, I've had it. And that's why when this book first came out, I would not have been mature enough to share it in a big way, so that when all the fingers come pointing, now I'm older and wise enough to know that, one, nobody's perfect, and two, if you are that perfect, why are you being so self-righteous? And also, you know, while you're busy pointing one finger at someone, four fingers, where really it's a thumb and three fingers, but pointing back at you, and basically look in the mirror at yourself and see your reflection of your life. What have you done that wasn't that great? You know, what have you done? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's why it's got a mirror. It's got a mirror for the image of the front cover, so you can look at your own reflection. But I would not have been mature enough to talk about it then, and I probably would have easily got trodden on by someone being self-righteous. You know, it's only when you sort of mature, get a bit wiser, you get it. You know, and you have that confidence to share. You have the confidence to share in a positive way because you feel it's going to help people. It's going to, you know, you're going to be reaching out to people. So I'll continue reading. Oh, don't tell me I've lost my page. I think I was just before. Yeah, it was just before chapter 9. While I was talking to you, I was busy flicking the pages. Yeah, it's got here that I'll read probably a little bit of what I read just a little bit of what I read last time. It's got here that by the beginning of spring, Rebecca's mood swings largely subsided. She decided to do something different with her hair. She wanted extensions braided into her tiny plait. So the specialist hairdresser gave her a small fringe and braided the rest of her hair in a ponytail. I remember that. It had a lovely small fringe and it was all braided back into a ponytail. And then I'm sure I had yellow and white and black beads at the end of the plaits. It was really lovely. It was really refreshing to have a new hairstyle. The difference that makes, you know, isn't it? Yeah, and yeah, see, I've written it here. Yellow and black beads were added to the plaits, which suited her complexion and eye colour. And again, everybody complimented her. Thereafter, she changed her hairstyle from time to time to give herself a new look. One day she brushed her hair right back and into a bun, giving her more of a stylish look, and she also began to wear makeup to college. This surprised some of her friends and caused some light-hearted comment, which reminded her that despite her increased sophistication, she was still easily embarrassed. The time soon came for the mock examinations to take place. Rebecca took them in her stride and gained top marks in English and maths. The result was pleasing to her. But when she sat the actual O-level exams, which is what they were called then, she again assailed by doubts. During the history exam, when the other students picked up their papers and began to read and answer questions, her mind began to wander and receded into perplexity of life. She peered down at the paper without seeing the words. She was still not happy with her life and the way people treated her. The exam she was doing was not worth the effort because she knew she would not need them. She decided that listen to this, she decided in 2 years' time, when she would be 19, if her life had not improved, she would end it and enjoy the rest of existence in the other world that offered her nothing but peace and comfort. That's what Rebecca said. That's what I remember. That I'll just underline that. That's how she was thinking. Very negative. All of a sudden, very negative. All of a sudden, very negative. Can you imagine having that scenario, sort of thinking, oh, in 2 years' time, if life doesn't improve, this is what I'm going to do. 2 years' time, life won't improve. Something will happen to make it not improve. So you do it because it's a negativity. It's not positive. It's a negativity. It is not positive. Yeah, so she decided in 2 years' time, when she would be 19, if her life had not improved, she would end it and enjoy the rest of her existence in the other world that offered her nothing but peace and comfort. Can you imagine, you know, you think it's that easy to take a cop out and sort of think, well, I'm going to end it and then enjoy life in, you know, in peace and tranquility or what have you, peace and comfort. Life isn't that easy like that. See, another decision she's now, thinking. Another negative decision. What on earth is going on here? What on earth is going on here? It's very, very negative. Very negative. And this is why it's important to talk to people. If you're not feeling that great, if you're not feeling encouraged, if there's someone around you that you can trust, talk to them and they'll encourage you. Someone that you can trust and they're very integral, positive people, wise. Talk to them, because you don't want to talk to someone and say, yeah, no, I feel the same way. You don't want that. If you can find someone that's very positive, and they can uplift you, really encourage you, because this is what we need. We need encouragement. Every individual needs to be encouraged, and sometimes there's a day where you, the encourager, needs to be encouraged. It's not easy at all. That's why it's important to talk about how you feel, and especially when you're younger, because you don't realize that when you're younger, it's a phase. It's like a phase that you're going through. And you'll get through it. If you can get the right support, the right people to talk to, you can get through it. Because there's so much out there, waiting for you to take part in. That's encouraging, exciting, that's fun. You haven't even got your independence yet. She's how old? She's 17 now. She's still there in the book. She's, hasn't experienced being independent. She hasn't experienced working and earning her own. Well, she has experienced working and earning her own money. She hasn't experienced working in a company with another business. She has experienced work because her father had a domestic store, and she used to work in there weekends and holidays, which I've shared before. So she has been independent financially. For the money that she used to earn, it allowed her to buy the clothes and things that she wanted or needed or what have you, even though her parents were still providing for her. But it was nice to know that she could buy clothing or a jacket or something, or a pair of shoes without having to ask for the money. It was nice. She liked that independence. But obviously she still wasn't happy with life. She thought this was her life. She's going to go from year to year, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, like this, feeling like this, being surrounded by people who she felt were mocking her, even though she's overcome so much. And it's like she can't see it. And that's why it's important to encourage people, to let people know you've come so far. Do you remember before you used to be like that? You used to react like this. I can see you've come so far. Well done. Keep it up. We all need that encouragement. Is there someone today that you feel you can encourage? Even just by giving a little smile or something. These things are really encouraging, and you just don't know what people are going through. Do you know what I mean? Even people that can appear happy and jolly, I'm not saying it's fake, because some people are genuinely joyful, happy or happy, should I say. Some people are generally joyful. But you get some people that are very happy and positive, but deep down there's a sadness there, or there's something that's upsetting them and they can't deal with it, and so on and so forth. We all need, encouragement, and some people don't like to burden other people with their woe, and so we all do need encouragement. Yeah, so that's how she's feeling now. There and then. But it's important to talk to someone if you're feeling like that, even before it gets to that stage. It's so important, so they can encourage you and make you think, help you, not make you, help you to think differently, more positively. Yeah. So she somehow pulled herself together and applied her mind to what she was supposed to be doing. She answered the questions as best as she could. The accountancy exam took place the following day, the last day of her college life, and she felt confident about this particular subject and knew she would enjoy the challenge of this particular test. It's amazing how history was one of Rebecca's favourite subjects, and that was the time she thought about, there's no point me doing this anyway, because I'm not going to be here in 2 years. Why did that happen when she was about to take the exam of one of her favourite subjects? And that subject, that history subject, is still relevant to my life today, because I'm an author. It's important to know about the history of certain areas, certain places, certain things, because it can make a book really, really interesting. So it's amazing how when she was doing that exam, that's when that negativity came upon her and she was thinking negative. You have to think about these things. Why do all of a sudden, you start thinking negatively? Is there something trying to stop you from succeeding and moving forward? And to stop you from doing it, place of negativity in your mind, maybe help you to start thinking negatively, so you don't achieve what you could achieve, it's something to think about, isn't it? Yeah, so the accountancy exam took place the following day, and she knew she would enjoy the challenge of this particular test. There was no chance of her mind leading her into morbid territory again. Okay, she did the exam with ease and was confident enough to tell everybody afterwards that she knew she had passed. She said farewell to her friends and left the college for the last time without any painful feelings, and that was it. It was like, hooray, hurrah, end of college. No way was she going to go on to further education and go through that. No way. Nah. It's time to go out and just start working. It was that sort of mentality. And it says, although leaving college was what Rebecca wanted, the fact that she was no longer a schoolgirl did not stop people looking at her in a strange way. She cared about the way she looked and dressed and did not understand why occasionally she would get the same treatment from people in the street as she did in school and college. It occurred to her that it might be because she was putting on weight. Although she had given up a lot of junk food that she used to eat, her bottom was sticking out, her stomach was protruding, and her clothes did not fit her properly. She decided at once to go on a diet. However, the diet she chose was not fruit and vegetables. It consisted of cigarettes and coffee. That was the diet that Rebecca decided to go on. And the reason she chose to go on a cigarette diet, which is do not, is because she felt as though the weakest part of her body were her lungs. So if she smoked, it would affect her lungs, and eventually she would get ill and then keel over. That was her psychology. So there's still that I can't even say it now. She's still feeling a little bit morbid, indirectly morbid about her life. And then the coffee was just coffee. She just decides coffee isn't, if you're drinking too much coffee, she must have known it's not going to be good for you. So put the two together, cigarettes and coffee, that's going to affect her health. That's how she was looking at it. It's not good, is it? Never do it. It's important to look after our health. We shouldn't take our physicality, if that's a word, for granted. We shouldn't take it. We need to look after our bodies and to keep strong and healthy. So where am I now? So she first started smoking after she left college during one of her bouts of depression, convincing herself that smoking would weaken her lungs and eventually kill her. She did not feel comfortable smoking, and she surprised everyone who knew her by doing so. She became irritable and impatient at times, and her family did not understand why she was behaving in such a manner, although it was obvious to her mother in particular that she was starving herself. Nothing could induce her to eat. However, she was determined to lose 2 stone in quick time, which isn't any good, because as soon as you lose the weight, you're just going to put it back on again, and even more. So she bought mineral and vitamin tablets to vitalize her body and spend much of her time chewing gum as a substitute for eating. Her weight soon dropped from 10.5 stone to 8.5 stone. She had achieved her objective in 3 weeks. All the surplus fat had left her thighs, and she now was flat-chested. I think that it says flat-cheated, but I think it was flat-chested. I'm sure that's what it means. That's what I meant. I think that's what it means there, because I've got to sort of update this book. And so although she reached her disagreeable weight, she still continued to diet. When she found more than her normal amount of hair in her comb the following week, so basically she's combing her hair and she's found more hair in her comb than usual. So she convinced herself that it was due to lack of protein, and so she bought some enormously large pills that she could barely swallow. I thought I was going to start eating. I thought that's what I was going to say. Yeah, so one evening she went for a walk. The traffic seemed loud, and the street sounds began to get to her. Excuse me, making her feel uncomfortable. She knew that her irritability was related to the fact that she had been living on cigarettes and coffee, vitamin tablets, and an odd piece of toast for the last month. She passed the chip shop and decided to buy some cotton chips. After all, they were full of protein. Excuse me. So her mouth watered as she picked up the paper bag, and she walked towards the beginning of the common and sat on one of the benches facing the main road where she ate her chips. What a sight, isn't it? After all that, gonna buy a nice bag of cotton chips and sit on the park bench and, just enjoy. So as soon as she took her first bite, she felt happier and at ease with herself. As her stomach welcomed the meal, her mind began to wake up, and her body became revitalized at the thought of being fed. And this was all she needed to return to a healthy diet, even though cotton chips, it's not a healthy meal, but she hasn't eaten for a while anyway, so why not end the diet with cotton chips, hey? The cod's healthy, do you know what I mean? It's fish, isn't it? And the potato is, but it's fried, so there you go. So she decided that she could control her weight by eating sensibly and taking up daily exercise. Yeah, so that's what she came to the conclusion, which is good. It's a positive conclusion, isn't it? To come to the conclusion that you can continue to diet even though she didn't need to. And even in the beginning she didn't need to. But I remember when I used to wear jeans, and we've all got different body types, and I felt as though my thighs are a little bit bigger, but they're like, like athlete thighs, athletes. The thighs are a little bit thicker, and then I remember, how I looked in my jeans, and I think looking back, I looked all right, but when you're younger, and even some older women, they're not satisfied, are they, with their shape and everything like that. It takes time just to get the confidence. But if I felt I needed to lose a few inches, I remember someone saying that we could all do losing a few inches. We could all do losing a few inches, but I don't want to lose a few inches. I don't want to lose a few inches, but I like to keep fit. I like to feel toned and keep fit. I like to feel strong. As I've got older, I've got a different way of looking at my physique now. Yeah, so I feel as though, if you want to go, and a diet doesn't mean not eating. A diet doesn't mean not eating. A diet is having a healthy way of eating, and it's normally 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, isn't it? And then if you're going to stack, it's normally fruit. With me, maybe that's not the case always, and I'm sure it's the same with you, but it's nice to have an odd treat or what have you. But it's just important to have a balanced diet, and then just do exercise 2 or 3 times a week and not overdo it, but it's something that especially when you're younger, you live and you learn, don't you? You live and you learn. Yeah, so basically, where am I now? Yeah. It's got here. Unfortunately, having again enjoyed her food, she went on an eating binge. So now she's eating, and because she hasn't eaten properly for a month, she's now binging on food, eating all the things that she likes, chocolate and crisps, all of that, because she hasn't eaten for a whole month. So there's lack of self-control now, because she starved herself for a whole month. And within 2 weeks, she put on half a stone back on, and she very soon weighed 10 stone, 4 pounds. Yeah, so that's why it's important to have a balanced diet, because then when you do have a balanced diet, you don't sort of like go a binge like that. And I've noticed that one of my favourite treats, I like chocolate, right? And one of my favourite treats are chocolate. But if I was to say to myself, oh, I'm not going to have any chocolate for maybe like 6 weeks. And then when the 6 weeks was up, I'd be like eating, getting chocolate because I haven't had it. But if you just sort of say, look, yeah, or it could be biscuits. Oh, my favourite treat are biscuits. So it's like saying, no, to biscuits. None. They're not doing me any good. And then after 6 weeks, you sort of say, look, haven't had biscuits for 6 weeks. So you find yourself eating one packet after another. It's not healthy to do that. So it's better just to say, look, I'm going to go on a diet, and then come 3 o'clock when it's my break time, where I can have like tea or coffee or what have you, I'm just going to have a couple of biscuits, and your mind just gets used to the fact that you can have them. But when your mind, the way that I see it, if your mind feels like you can't have them, that's when you do decide to have them, you overindulge, and that's not healthy, if you see what I mean. Yeah. So it's something that Rebecca had to learn, and I remember it took time for me to understand that, because then you'd go back on the diet and see how quick you're losing the weight, and then you'd binge. Every now and then you'll binge, or there'd be a day where I say to myself, and I've heard even adults say it, where they'll have a day where they can eat anything that they want, and then the rest of the week they're on a really, really healthy diet. You can do that if you want, but I just feel like I know I'd be thinking about that day to come where I can eat everything that I want. And then I'll be thinking at the end of the day, oh, it's such a shame this day has to end. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the way that I see it. Because now sometimes it's like, even the way that I raised up my children, I offered them, when they were younger, I used to say, oh, here's a little bit of chocolate. They don't really like chocolate. They just, sometimes they say, no, thank you, it's all right. No, it's all right. No, thank you. That's what they would say. Yeah. So it goes to show the sweets and things. I don't really eat a lot of sweets, because I used to say, here's a sweet. And they, if they wanted it, they would take it. If they didn't, they wouldn't. But because they knew they could have it, sometimes they say, no, it's all right. And then I've got one daughter that if you gave her, say like she had a bit of pocket money, you'd think she'd go to the shop and buy sweets, and she'd come back with avocado, or she likes pineapple, or she's still got this thing about the tin gherkins. And it wasn't the other time. I remember there was a time I had a burger with a gherkin in it, and I was like, oh, this gherkin's so nice. And she went, see? But she'd buy a bottle of it, and she'd just eat the gherkin, So, yeah, so there you go. It's just to encourage you, to have a positive way of looking at your body. And it's not always easy to do that, especially when you're younger. It's not always easy for people to do that, but I feel it's important for us to respect our bodies and to try and have a balanced diet. Even the other day I was sort of saying that sometimes I have to reflect and look at my diet and say, I'm eating a little bit too much of this. I need to tone it down a bit and eat more fruit and more this and more that, and so on and so forth. Sometimes you have to reflect on what you're eating to sort of think, oh, is there a proper way? Is there a better way for me to eat? Recently I've been having cereals for breakfast, and it's like I need to really go back to having porridge and muesli and things like that. It's all right to have cereals, but the way that I've been having the cereals, no, not like that. It's oats and mueslis and things like that are good, and you can also put fruit and a little bit of yogurt on the porridge and stuff like that. It's important, isn't it, to look after our body, especially as we get older as well. Definitely so. So I hope that this has encouraged you. And again, that's why it's important to encourage each other, build each other up. And it's important to talk to people if you're not feeling happy about your life or about something going on in your life. Find someone that you feel you can trust, and they're integral and they're positive. You can trust them, and share, and hopefully they'll be able to encourage you and to help you and guide you in the right direction. But that's it for today. And again, when you listen to the video, if you like it, please do some likes and some comments. Let me know what you thought about what I've been sharing about. I will be typing up the book soon, and the book will be out soon. I'm looking forward to when the book comes out. It's very exciting. Again, redoing it. And if you want to see what I'm doing online, you can do. My Instagram is Rosalind1325. My YouTube is Welcome Rosalind Roberts. My podcast is Sac Taff. And I've got Threads and X, which is @_RR Roberts, something like that, or @author_RR Roberts, something like that. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.